America is infamous for its many serial killers and other type of sick individuals. From media's point of view, it is easy to believe that there's a lot of active serial killers lurking around and killing innocent people, but it is a false and immoderate picture produced only to sell more copies and scare people into believing that the society is evil. Some of the worst serial killers are Aileen Wuornos and Jeffrey Dahmer, who both got captured after a long killing spree, leaving behind a large amount of dead people. This short documentary will describe these two serial killers and their methods of killing their victims, their life, and the media coverage of their trials. Jeffrey Dahmer was born in the small community of Milwaukee, Wisconsin on May 21, 1960. His childhood was filled with love from his parents, and he was considered to be a normal young boy with a positive future. At the age of 6, Dahmer had a surgery to correct a double hernia. And at the same time, his younger brother was born and he was getting a lot of attention from his parents. Due to this, it has been told that these circumstances changed him drastically to the inferior. A couple of years later, the family moved to Iowa in Ohio because of career opportunities for his father. During this period, Dahmer became lonelier, lost his self-confidence, and became depressed. Later on, he has told the authorities that it was during this stage he got compulsions about necrophilia and murder, which later on developed into actions. Jeffrey Dahmer killed 17 men in total between 1978 and 1991 before being captured in 1991 at an age of 41. Most of his victims was killed in his house in Wisconsin. Dahmer's victims was often black homosexual men who he invited to his house for beer and sex, and he was always acting nice and welcoming to his guests. Dahmer is infamous for his brutal and disgusting ways of killing his victims with different methods. Besides his necrophilic activities with his dead victims, he often saved their genitals or skulls as souvenirs, which he kept in fridges in his basement. And like this was not enough, he also tried different methods of killing his victims with chemical substances. And sometimes he drilled a hole with a screwdriver in their head to inject the muriatic, it's like salt liquid. And he explained this by saying that he tried to extend the control on his victims. He also ate parts of flesh from the dead bodies with intentions of ascendancy. After being captured in 1991, the world got to know about Jeffrey Dahmer and his gruesome crimes. The media coverage of the trial was extensive, and many people followed it with disgust. 95 TV stations and over 400 reporters were reporting about the trial with distinct descriptions on Dahmer's way of killing his victims. Many felt disgust, and people all over America read about it, and soon everyone knew who Dahmer was. Even if the trial was over and people wanted to forget, media and pop culture continued to talk about him. Since his capture, a handful of movies and documentaries have been produced about him. If you constantly get reminded about something, it is easy to believe that something is true and real, like believing that the society is full of evil people, even if there are only a few of them. Even today, there are still reports about Dahmer, lost from August 2012 when the Daily Beast wrote that Dahmer's old property was for sale. So by reading about it often, it may seem that these type of crimes are quite common, even if they are not. Another serial killer who has gotten a lot of attention in the media is Aileen Wuornos. She was the first female serial killer ever among all the male serial killers. She was born in 1956 in Rochester. As a child, she and her brother was abused and molested by their father. Eventually, their father got sentenced to prison and the mother left. Due to this, they had to live with their grandmother. Compared to Jeffrey Dahmer, who had a quite normal childhood, Wuornos' childhood was filled with violence and fear. She got pregnant at a very young age. She claimed that her brother was the father to her child, but this has not been confirmed. She gave the child up for adoption and left the home after her grandmother died of age. She then traveled across America working as a prostitute, a dangerous life where she met psychopaths and other horrible men. During her time as a prostitute, she often got exposed to violence. She was raped and beaten with different tools, and several times she thought that her time had come. Wuornos killed her first victim in 1989, and the body was found in a shrubbery near a small road. The body had several bullet holes in it when it was found by the police. 6 months later, another body was found, and this continued until she was captured on January 1991. At this point, she had killed 6 men. During her trial, she claimed that she only was using self-defense when she shot and killed her victims. She said that they tried to rape and kill her and that she had no choice. All of Wuornos' victims were shot by several bullets and was then dumped and hidden very poorly. Wuornos was sentenced to death by lethal injection and was executed in 2002, 11 years after her capture. Just like Jeffrey Dahmer's, her killing methods was nothing peculiar compared to other murder cases, but the abnormal was that she was the first woman who faced conviction for several murders, which is why the media attention was so comprising. People now got the thought that there are female serial killers as well. Not just men can be evil, but women as well. Even if Wuornos was a serial killer, there are some that defend her actions. They mean that she was traumatized during her childhood and that she only did what she did because of the horrible men that she met. During her trial, Wuornos said, "I did not do anything wrong, as he said. I did the right thing and I saved a lot of people's butts from getting hurt and raped too." Even if the people who was killed did terrible things, murder does not justify her actions. Since her death, there has been some movie adaptation of her life, where the most famous one is Monster from 2003. Wuornos was portrayed by Charlize Theron, who won an Oscar for her role as a serial killer. Media focused on how Charlize gained weight and how she was roughed, not about the actual problem which made a lean to the person she became. Just as with Jeffrey Dahmer, people get reminded about the evil things in the society when new documentaries or movies are produced. This gives power to the thought that society is full of evil people.